다가가기조차 많은 것조차 없어 애태우고 나 홀로 밤을 지새 우죠 수백 번 지원해줘
오지 말고 떠나가라 또 나를 찾지 말고 살아가라 너를 사랑했기에 후회롭기에 좋았던 기억만 가져가라 그럭저럭 참아볼 만해 그럭저럭 견뎌낼 만해 넌 그럴수록 행복해야 돼 하루하루 무뎌져가네
I just touched G-Dragon. Everyone, I just touched G-Dragon.
So a lot of stuff happened. We kept the line kept changing and stuff in the chaos, but sound check. We got into sound check eventually. We were number 25th and 26th in line. That's way better than I've ever had in my entire life. So both for sound check and the concert, one person away from the stage, center. It pinned. They could see our faces so clearly, clear as day, and therefore they played with us quite a bit. Finally, guys! Newsflash! G-Dragon looked at me twice, 4 times. I'm not even sure. I bet there were some times that I'm pretty sure he was looking at me and I looked over and he looked away. Like, that's how often it happened. Rectified, finally! 3 years of waiting!
He has been forgiven.
Daesung, I did not freak out during soundcheck, everyone. I repeat, I was as calm as a cucumber in that soundcheck. I was redeemed from 3 years ago's horrible mistake.
Yeah, so obviously this was my first time ever seeing Big Bang. It was worth it. It was so worth it. Don't let anybody tell you it's not worth it, because it is. Okay, so the band, we played with the band. That was so fun. And then they played Girl, I Need a Girl. And then at the very, very, very end, Taeyong sang a few little oohs and got everyone freaked out. And then they finally came on stage. And my first thoughts about seeing Big Bang in person: G-Dragon is very short.
Yep! He walks on stage and you're almost like,
You're like,
what happened to your legs?
He's little. He's little. Taeyong was actually not as short as I was expecting him to be. He seemed like exactly the way I imagined he would be. Top was like raincoat, like full length, and sunglasses, and G-Dragon was completely covered up. Like, you could see this much of him.
Yep.
This much of his eyes, and everything else was completely covered. Sungmi looked like he had a long night last night.
He did.
And then Daesung, oh my gosh. There's a very odd moment when someone who has forever been fake, or somebody you just like see on YouTube or on a screen, and all of a sudden they become real. Like, you see them in person, you're like, oh, this is actually like something real, and we're in the same room and I can like look at you and you can see me, and it's hard to like digest all of that at once. But to be honest, Daesung was everything I was expecting and hoping, and I think that's what made it so magical. But during Bang Bang Bang, Daesung, like, he looked right at me and he just smiled, and it was the most magical moment.
I honestly goodness, felt dazed. Just dazed. It was like I couldn't comprehend what was happening. Like, it's the weirdest feeling, because I've seen them before. I've seen them twice, but for some reason this time I was like, Big Bang, not on phone. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, it's still kind of weird to me to think about the way that I felt when I saw them. And then when they did interact with us and like they could see me, like every time I was like more shocked. I was like, oh, it was actual eye contact. What?
I know.
Oh. Sunny was extremely shy, but he was like staring at me, and I look over and he was like, like, it was like a very distinct she looked at me, look away kind of reaction. Like, guys, this was just like a providential trip. Like, it worked out so well. It could not have worked out any better than it did. So amazing. Anyway, so we get back in line, we purchase our stuff, we get our stuff, and we don't have to have that experience of, oh my gosh, they don't have our size. Love that. And they have the colors we want. Thank you, YG. It was like we had like barely any time to eat anything, and it was like, oh, back in the venue for an hour. And
it was a really long
once again,
hour.
exact same spot, one person away from the stage, basically. So amazing. It started. And yes, G-Dragon looked at me several times. Top nothing. Suddenly basically nothing. Daesung, lots of flirtation. Taeyang, actually, very nice moment with Taeyang. It was during his solo, and he walked towards the stage. I don't think it was a solo now that I think about it. He was walking towards where we were and bending down, and I was singing, and I wasn't really paying attention to him, other than the fact that I was like watching him in general. And he looked at me, and I was singing, and he like smiled really big. But I remember like Daesung looked over at us, and I don't know what you did because I was panicking because I went, oh my gosh, because he looked at us, and then like he was still looking at us, and I like, oh my gosh, and like I hid behind Christina a little bit, and then he like laughed. It happened again later on where he like did it on purpose, I think, to see if we would laugh or like to see if we would give the same reaction. I'm like hid behind Christina, I was like, don't do it, and he kind of smirked at that.
I have the moment I saw G-Dragon look at Mindy. So he's standing and singing, and at the end of his little spiel, he like looks in my direction, and I feel like, oh, he could almost be looking at me, but his eyes are a little, watch the camera, his eyes are a little to my right, so a little to his left, and then you're like, oh, he's looking at Mindy. So, and then he does this little, as he finishes his thing. I mean, he doesn't make the sound, I just have to make the sound. Anyway, so he just kind of cocks his head and like does the hey. And so I look over and Mindy's like, ah! It was awesome.
Oh my gosh, guys, GD likes me from afar. He can't admit it, obviously, that he finds me uncontrollably attractive.
Uncontrollably.
Therefore, he must hide his feelings and never let me know, because he knows that if he ever let his feelings be known, his life would be over.
You may not know it, but
he loves me!
in his future is a proposal to a certain young woman of American descent. So here's a story.
Yeah!
So there was this point when, you know, they were giving little speeches in the middle of the concert. His little speech was, part of his speech was, I can't see you, obviously, because his hair was, you know,
so freaking cute.
Right in front of his eyes. So he says, I can't see you, so I have to hear you. So he had us like scream, and then he's like, I want to see you. Do you want to see me? Do you want to see my eyes? And of course everyone's like, yes, yes. While he's saying this, I'm like, hello. I don't like your hair in your eyes, so I just kind of like use my both hands to just be like, part your hair, you know? So I just did that a couple of times, and GD saw it. He just started like laughing. He kind of like laughs and turns to the side because he's laughing, and Daesung does this little dance in front of the camera with his hair out of his eyes. And then he puts it back, and then the attention shifts to one of the other members to say something. And GD walked over to Daesung. And like he like kind of looked at me a little bit, and then he like said something to Daesung, and he was like batting at his hair a little bit. And then Daesung looked over at me, and they both were laughing.
Yeah, so concert ends, and we're like, awesome. Guess what? It's not over for us.
Let's just say she touched all of them.
I touched all of them. Except for Taeyang, who I thought I was getting a video selfie with, but apparently I somehow turned off the camera.
It sucks now, but it's gonna be a funny story later.
But like this, I could show you what he did. He went and then walked away. So here's how it went. Daesung came out, touches people, says hi, you know, like got a picture or two. You know, he gave us a little bit of recognition. Then there's Sunny, who's like way out there, and we're over here. We're like, hey, Sunny, you want to give us some attention, seeing that we waited for you and paid money for this? And then like he would come over to some people, and I got to touch him. Then here comes Top, who's just like, with my wine. Like,
He was doing
Okay.
ballet. No, not really, but
and he went, "You like?" at one point, and just like being Top. Touched him too. I touched Top. What the heck?
sorry, Katie.
I like that. It still feels unreal to me. I actually touched them. What? Anyway, then here comes G-Dragon, who was like,
He was back in his fully covered all
Yeah.
but the eyes.
can't see him doing anything, and like this is how he touched hands. Thanks. Like all of us were just like, really. And then here comes Young Bae. And we're all like, wow, he's taking a really long time. Is he like stuck backstage? But then we look down the line and realize that he's taking a long time making sure he connects with each fan.
Every single person who wanted a selfie got a selfie.
Every last person who wanted an autograph got an autograph. Every last person that wanted to shake his hand got a handshake and a little bit more time with him than any of the other members ever did. It got to the point where G-Dragon's manager rolled down the window to laugh because he was so like, Taeyong, you're making us all look bad and like holding us back because we want to go. And I saw G-Dragon looking through the window and like looking over at him every now and then. He made them all look so bad.
Yeah, Young Bae, that's how you
Like-
do it.
Like I can't even like them passing by. I was like, okay, I expected that. Like, okay, fine, whatever. But like when you have the last one, like really like just like slow down and understand that we had paid and like spent hours waiting for them to really appreciate what we did, made us kind of look at the cars like, so what's wrong with you guys? We were fine with it until Taeyong came by, and then we were like, oh my gosh, you guys suck. So apparently Christina saw something I didn't see that I'm really mad. She had a better experience than me, guys. I'm kind of upset about this.
I'm sorry. I'm
Go ahead and talk about it.
I was right next to Mindy on the other side. So as they were coming down, they got to Mindy first and then to me. Daesung came first, and he really like popped up out of nowhere. All of a sudden he was there, and I was like, get a picture! So I took a picture really quick of him walking down the line, and he like kind of like brushed hands, and then I just like reached out my hand. I like didn't say anything. I was gonna show him my nalge, but it just like totally left my brain when I saw him. And so I just kind of like reached out my hand, and he like brushed it, but then like he like paused. Like, don't do that.
I want it for effect.
Okay, well, I have a right hand and a left hand, so it makes it kind of difficult. He like paused and like squeezed my fingers together. Not just like a limp handshake, but he actually like squeezed and then he let go. And I was like dazed for a while after that. So
Christina, you and Daesung held hands.
So I just reached out my other hand while I'm still staring at this hand, and Top, like, I was kind of reaching for a hand, like a high five, because I felt like that's kind of what was going on. Because I felt like he was, again, doing kind of like the brush by with the hands. But he, like, stopped again. He, like, stopped and, like, held out his hand for, like, a handshake. And so I was like, okay, handshake. So I got a nice firm, it wasn't limp, Katie. Top does not give limp handshakes. Gosh, I'm sorry, Katie. With GD, again, he like Mindy said, he like walked by really fast and wasn't really like looking at anybody.
But
I kind of like reached out, and his sleeves were like dangling over his fingers, so it was pretty worthless anyway, but I think I got like a little slip of fabric as he walked by.
really, I actually touched his hand. Yes, something for me. Woo!
But I saw Mindy was looking down the line for Sungmi or Taeyong. I think by that point it was probably Taeyong.
I'm so mad about this.
So Top walked back to his car, and we said goodbye to him in Korean. I said like, you did really good. Go well. Daesung's was at the front, so we didn't see him get in the car. But then GD's came next, and he like walked out, and he opened the door, and I said something in Korean. I don't remember what it was, but I said something in Korean. Probably something like goodbye.
Yeah, probably something like that. Seeing he was leaving.
And then he got in, but he turned around and he looked right at us and he waved. So that was a good feeling after essentially
Maybe I did see this.
essentially being snubbed as he walked away.
Now that I think about it, I might have seen that. And I just forgot I saw it.
I can't believe you forgot you saw that.
Well, I forgot a lot of stuff today. My brain is in this weird daze.
Something quick about the concert while I'm thinking about Sungni. Every time Daesung spoke, Sungni would go, "You're killing me, man! You're killing me!"
That phrase now has a whole new meaning.
Oh,
You're
so
killing me, man!
So funny. Okay, so, and then, again, Youngbae was last, and, because he was taking so much time, everyone was getting selfies with him. And I was going to, I had my camera prepped and ready to do it. Everyone stopped at the fanboy, and then I think there was a girl after that, and then Mindy, and then me. And at all 4 of those, he stopped to take a selfie. And I just couldn't do it. I just, put it down.
Oh, Christina!
And I showed my hand for another good... Well, his was more he kind of, took my hand like this instead of, an actual handshake.
I cannot believe you were that close to them.
I know. I'm talking about this, and I'm I totally made this up in my head. This did not happen.
Seriously.
It happened, and then they were gone. If this is the end, this is my last concert, it was a good way to go out. It was good. It was so good. I'm really happy. And I promised myself I would never watch this again, but I already have.
It's okay, the essence is still there. Their essence will never leave.
Taya, top, jeans sweater.
Last Bigbang concert, I was really bummed out that it was over. I just feel so pleased with how things turned out.
Look how boss she's in her tour shirt.
대성은 숙소에 머물면서 상당히 괴로워하고 있는 것으로 알려졌습니다. 당신의 사연에
Time for us to say goodbye to Bigbang for a little while. You guys remember our video from the live tour? We said that was not goodbye. We should see you later because we would see them again. We will see them again. It is not goodbye.